And I'm joined now by Congressman Adam Smith of Washington State. He's the top Democrat on the House Armed Services Committee. What did you think as you were watching this cabinet room meeting between President Trump and President Zelensky?
Well, we've made a lot of progress. I mean, President Trump and his cabinet are not directly undermining Zelensky in Ukraine, which is certainly a huge improvement from where we were at that first meeting, 6 months ago now. So that's a step in the right direction. You've seen Secretary Hegseth, use rhetoric that holds Russia accountable for the war. Secretary Bessent was complaining about China giving too much support to Russia during the war. So the tone of the Trump administration seems to be a little bit better. I do worry about this next meeting with Putin. What is he going to get out of it? Every time he meets with Putin, he seems to back off of the one thing that he needs to do, which is put pressure on Putin, whether it's through selling tomahawks or putting sanctions on him. That's the pressure that Putin needs to get him to change his mind. President Zelensky's right now. Putin doesn't want to end the war. He wants to win the war. Got to change his mind on that by making it clear that he can't win the war. And President Trump could help push Putin in that direction.
From this call that Trump had with Putin yesterday, what did you think of Putin's reasoning on the call that tomahawks, which obviously could put Moscow and St. Petersburg in range for Ukraine, would have no significant impact on the battlefield, but he said they would damage the U.S.-Russian relationship severely?
Yeah, I don't believe the first part. He wouldn't have made the call after President Trump made the threat to sell the tomahawks or give the tomahawks to Ukraine if he didn't think it was a problem. And also, just from a military standpoint, it would clearly be a problem. Now, look, Zelensky and Ukraine are already able to reach Moscow and St. Petersburg with drones. They've done that effectively. But this could certainly put even more pressure on Russia. So no, I don't believe President Putin when he says that tomahawks would not have an impact on the battlefield.
And our Jim Sciutto and Zach Cohen are reporting about some of the other contributions to consider, right? There's a strategic shift in intel sharing with Ukraine, including sharing information on targets that are inside of Russia, as Ukraine has adopted this very concerted approach of targeting Russian energy infrastructure. How necessary are these Tomahawk missiles? How do you see what the president has done to increase some of those contributions since the Alaska summit?
Yeah, I think the tomahawks would be helpful, but I don't think they're decisive. A very underreported story here in the last month or so is the degree to which Ukraine has really stopped Russia in their tracks in eastern Ukraine. 2-3 months ago, there was like this sort of inevitability. Russia's gaining, however small amount of ground, but it's sort of relentless and inevitable. They've been stopped, and also Ukraine has been able to really inflict damage on Russia's energy infrastructure that's having an impact. Russia's economy is in trouble. So the war has really shifted in the last month or two in Ukraine's favor and against Russia. And the reason that's important is because it gives us the opportunity to get to peace and an end of the war. It gives us an opportunity to make it clear to Putin and Russia they are not going to achieve their objective of taking over Ukraine. It's time to negotiate.
So I want to ask you about the shutdown. Republican chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, Mike Rogers, said this about the National Nuclear Security Administration just a short time ago.
In the group that handles and manages our nuclear stockpile, that the carryover funding they've been using is about to run out. They will have to lay off 80% of their employees. These are not employees that you want to go home.
What is your reaction to that?
I think the shutdown is a major problem that's only going to get worse day after day. Certainly the NNSA is part of it, but the broader defense establishment is going to be impacted, as are all manner of different services across this country. But, I have a lot of respect for Mike Rogers. I work very closely with him. I would ask him to tell Mike Johnson, bring the House back in session. Mike Johnson has shut down the United States House of Representatives. I'm here. Republicans are not here. All right. If we want to get this government open, negotiate with us. I said a couple days ago, Trump will negotiate with Hamas and Putin and North Korea, but he won't negotiate with Democrats. It's just, here's our budget, take it or leave it. We're supposed to negotiate as long as they need Democratic votes, which they do in the Senate. then they have to talk to us if we're going to resolve this. So I would say, Mike Johnson, stop shutting down the United States Congress. You know, we need to get back in session, and we need to start negotiating to end this shutdown, which is a major problem for this country, no doubt.
Congressman Adam Smith, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for the chance.
Still to come, more on this meeting between President Trump and President Zelensky. The two leaders meeting at the White House right now.